I used to be afraid of you, but I don't think I am anymore.
There's nothing to fear except God.
For me, God is a disease.
It's the things that make you look at what you thought you saw in a different light. The hole in the Pentagon being too small for a plane. The lawn isn't mussed up. The government's not showing the plane hitting when many cameras photographed it.
There's nothing to fear except God. God. God.
Oh, if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask?
It's too big.
Back and to the left, 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 back and to the left.
What's up, everybody? This is Half of God's Face podcast. I am here with Eamonn and Austin to talk about Highest to Lowest, a new movie by Spike Lee, also Spike Lee in general, and I love fucking Summer of Sam, so we're going to talk about that as well. Serial killers. Austin was telling me, he was giving me some housekeeping notes on what we should talk about with 9/11 next week, and it was very racially charged. Let me just say that. It was a little bit, I was a little offended. I said to him, you know, this is making me uncomfortable. And he just kept saying just very crazy things to me and Eamon before we started the this podcast, unfortunately. But I just wanted to be honest that there's a weird vibe already because he just came in with so much racial hatred. But anyway, you can, whatever you're gonna say, Austin, is cool.
I was going to do a different approach. I was going to do a favor for most of America.
Okay.
At least in terms of Spike Lee in his cinema, is fuck the Yankees.
Yeah.
Fuck everyone that is a Yankees fan. I went
Fair.
to the 2024 ALCS. With,
yeah.
Guardians and Yankees, and there was a guy next to me. And every time Juan Soto went up to bat, which he's not on the team anymore, so they can go, put that up their ass. This guy next to me, Yankees fan, just kept going, uh-oh, every time he came up to bat, and I was like,
Just a caricature New York person. Well, okay, so in fairness, I appreciate Spike in a lot of ways because he has this huge personality, like as a person, and he has this almost Nabil used this word when I was texting him about it, and I agree. It's this term. It's almost like ethnographic. It's almost like a pure kind of documentary. It's almost like he's like a scientist of New York City, and all of his films kind of have this encyclopedic knowledge of New York. Every borough, every race of people. You get 25th Hour. You get Do the Right Thing. You get these unhinged racial rants that are hilarious, but they're also genius because Spike writing the script knows everything about every person in New York City, every type of person. So and you kind of get that with highest to lowest as well with the subway part. There's like a split second highest to lowest where they're like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. The train goes on all these stops, and he just lists every stop. Like on the train. So yeah, I'm like cutting myself off. But yeah, no, I appreciate this. We're definitely gonna talk about like race on this episode. And I appreciate Spike. I feel like he's one of the iconic filmmakers on talking about like race in general. But I think he knows why people hate each other better than a lot of filmmakers. And
that's a good point.
But yeah, sorry, I haven't even really like introduced Eamon. Eamon is here as well. I've been talking so much.
I'm the resident expert on A$AP Rocky and New York culture. No, I'm playing. I'm just spectating. I came to see the movie. But yeah, no, it's been crazy.
Well, yeah, Austin, I was just showing Eamon an interview with Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, and A$AP Rocky.
I saw you sent that to me, but I didn't catch it yet.
Dude, it's crazy because honestly, I'm really hype on Highest to Lowest. My screening, I feel like my screening was kind of weird. It was at the Gene Siskel, so it was like definitely an older crowd. So a lot of people didn't really like. No one was laughing the whole movie.
What are
It was
these kids saying to each other? Oh my god!
yeah, and literally there was a vibe just even like amongst us of like people seemed to like hate it. Like Matt was there and Sean, and they both didn't really seem to like the movie. And it was weird because Sean seemed to like be laughing the whole time and seemed to have a great experience. But then after the movie, he was like, I liked it. But he was like talking about it in a way where there were obvious holes in the movie. And I was just kind of like over the moon, like, man, this is Return to Spike Lee. And I think
Sure.
really why I was so pumped on it was because I feel like I took Denzel for granted over the years. I was just saying this
Oh,
to Eamon before,
that's a great point for sure.
and seeing this interview with him and ASAP Rocky and Spike Lee, you just see that Denzel is the alpha. I mean, he is the center of the room. He is the center of the universe. ASAP Rocky in this interview is just like, he's like, man, I can't tell you how many times I've been told I look like Denzel Washington by my mom. And he's like, I want to just call my mom and tell her. So there's this, the fact that ASAP Rocky
Yeah.
and Denzel have such incredible scenes in this movie. And it's just, it's like, it's all, I mean, again, I say this phrase all the time. It's like a documentary, but there's just so much truth in it. And I don't know, I was really inspired by Highest to Lowest because Denzel reminded me why he's an iconic figure. And I love
Yeah.
ASAP's performance, but I thought Denzel's performance was amazing.
Sure. I do have a Denzel story if I can share it.
Oh yeah.
My uncle was in a movie called Unstoppable.
I do remember you mentioning this now you're bringing this up.
No, it's in the bar that I work at because my uncle used to own it, and it says like Unstoppable and then Denzel Washington on the poster than my uncle's name. And obviously there's like this thing on set where you don't talk to the talent if you're an extra or whatever. And he told me like Denzel was just walking up to like the lunch tables, just like chatting with everyone.
Man.
Wow.
And just like interweaving that what you can really do with that. And he said like some people would like come up to him and try to talk to him. They'd be like, hey, go away. He's like, no, what's up? Like, no, it's cool.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I would completely agree. Like Denzel was the man.
Man, yeah, he's so inspiring in this movie for me. Dude, he's 70 years old.
Are you serious?
70. He
All right.
looks amazing.
All right. No, wait. What?
70.
All right. Yeah, he looks like he's like 52.
Dude, he's like, so I've just been like, since I saw Highest to Lowest and I watched this interview. So in this interview, ASAP Rocky then said that he loves Mo Better Blues. That's like one of his favorite
Right.
Denzel performances, and He Got Game as well. And I watched both of those. Mo Better Blues is honestly one of the best Spike Lee movies. I mean, I kind of still think Summer of Sam might be my favorite. Summer of Sam, 25th Hour were always like two of my favorites, but Mo Better Blues is like, that might be my favorite Denzel performance. Because kind of what I was saying to Eamon was, I feel like when I took Denzel for granted was at times in his career, he just doesn't have the best directors. So sometimes he's just totally over the top in a movie and you don't really see like the understated side to him, or you don't feel like the alpha vibe the way you feel it in this movie because everyone, and then the casting and the character in Highest to Lowest, him being like a producer, like almost like a Jay-Z type or like a Dr. Dre type, like producer, is just perfect for him because everyone in the movie that comes and interacts with him and they go, oh, King David, you're this iconic guy. It's not really even acting because it's like Denzel is that iconic. Like it's like just so easy for that. Like the casting is perfect. And no, I mean, there were a lot of things ASAP said in that interview that really inspired me. So apparently this is cutting deep into the movie when they finally have scenes together. So obviously Highest to Lowest is remake of High and Low, which I just rewatched, is also High and Low is definitely a better film. The Akira Kurosawa, it's a perfect crime thriller and really was an inspiration for the modern day police thriller film. Basically the plot. Highest to Lowest is a pretty faithful remake. It's like almost every aspect of the movie is the same as High and Low. And it's like but I think High and Low does an even more it's almost more like Zodiac or something like that in High and Low, because the killer
Do you
or the
mean in
guy
like
that's
terms of like the ambiguity or like the paranoia?
yeah, well, it has more to do with the cops trying to track down this guy who does the
Okay, all
kidnapping.
right.
And it's more, and it doesn't reveal it. It's not like the main character figures it out. The main guy just kind of gets ruined, and then the cops are like, so it's basically the first part of the movie is this handoff, just like highest to lowest, and then it does also involve a train, which is also brilliant the way Spike makes it about the fucking New York train system instead of like the Japanese like train system. But in high and low, the kidnapper is a lot more like a serial killer kind of feeling. And highest to lowest is much more a comment on the contemporary like rap culture with Young Felon. And Eamon told me that ASAP was actually like going to court when he was filming this movie.
No, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
he was being sued for it was some kind of assault charge, I think, or a gun charge with somebody else in the ASAP group. And he was going to trial, and just near the end of the trial, at the same time that people were on Instagram and Twitter like posting videos of him that ended up being in the movie, and it was like they're holding up signs that say "Young Felon." I'm like, what's that? And it's that happens at the same time. I think he had just like gotten out of the case when I started seeing those clips.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Damn.
crazy. And
So
then
that's
he's
a
Young
whole
Felon.
okay. Yeah.
Young
He's
Felon is his name.
young felon.
No, because when you see highest to lowest, there's not really a mystery on who the guy is if you know ASAP Rocky going into it. And I knew ASAP Rocky was that character going in, so I was like, oh, there's ASAP Rocky's voice. But when you see high and low, even though it does introduce you to who the kidnapper is in this way, the kidnapper then puts on sunglasses and he kind of just has this anonymous feeling. And then there's this whole thing in high and low where he had used like some heroin addicts as like the place where he kept the kidnapped kid. And at a certain point, he like gives them too many drugs to like kill them. And so there's really a serial killer kind of feeling to high and low, but I really appreciated highest to lowest because it just felt like so like contemporary, like the internet
really
shit.
did.
And that happens in high and low too. I mean, it's like in the papers. It's it's like instead of on social media, it's like in the newspapers. People are saying, "Can you believe this like executive gave all this money to try to save a kid that isn't his?" And then the police say to the press, "You got to help us out. You can't tell them that we know that the heroin addicts that were helping the kidnapper are dead, because the kidnapper won't go back to this like house. So we got to pop them." So then the press, they're all like hanging out with the police in fucking high and low. And by the way, similar to highest to lowest, the type of iconic black actors you have all up and down the cast, it's the same thing with high and low with Japanese actors. You see a whole cast of characters that are in Mikio Naru's films, Ozu, Kurosawa. It's like the same kind of feeling where you see the same faces. You look, the head sheriff or the head detective in high and low. He's in I think Scattered Clouds or something like that. The Mikio Naru's film, which was one of his last films. So it's just like, yeah, it's really I appreciate Spike. I appreciate that I feel like he did his own thing with it. I mean, I think if I had to guess why people don't like the movie so far, I think some people have watched High and Low and then they watch Highest to Lowest and then they're like, that wasn't as good as High and Low, which it's like, okay. High and Low is like a perfect, like a movie that set the standard 60 years ago for the crime.
But no, that's a good point. Like if like granted, it is kind of like a I'm gonna like adapt it on this thing. But if you're doing your own thing, I think that kind of like deserves way less critique. Like, an adaptation of another film doesn't need to be taboo. It doesn't need to be bad.
That was the other thing that I was thinking when I rewatched High and Low, and this is like where we really get into race. Literally, it's so funny when Denzel is saying he's not going to buy the kid back. It's so funny. I was laughing so much in the movie because I hadn't seen High and Low in years, so I forgot that actually does happen in High and Low.
Right.
But it's so much more Japanese in High and Low. It's like so Japanese because in High and Low is there's no fat in High and Low. Just to give you an idea of the movie, it's so fast paced and it's so like I feel like they introduced the kidnapping so much quicker than Spike Lee did it.
Mm.
And it did it in such a in such a way where you can't almost keep up with the psychology, but it is psychologically like, oh shit, the kid it wasn't my kid that was kidnapped, it was his friend,
Right.
like thing that gets introduced. And then in High and Low, the cutthroat executive, he's like a shoe executive, and he wants to buy his shoe company back. He wants to like take control of it. Actually, it's not the same because in Highest to Low, or sorry, Highest to Low, Lowest, King David like owned the record thing at one point, but in High and Low, it's not actually his company. He just wants to take over it. And so then he's like, I'm not going to give this money to save this guy. But it's not like it's not like the same as the Spike Lee, because it's not like it's his best friend. It's just a guy that works for him. And so he says, I'm not going to give the money. And the guy, super Japanese, gets on his hands and knees and just is begging. Like, I beg you to.
Oh my gosh.
I beg you to do this. And the real difference is when, spoilers, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, there's going to be some spoilers. But literally, in Highest to Lowest, you notice when they get the kid back, and then the dude who's his best friend is like, don't press my son too hard. He just got out of this traumatizing experience. Don't fuck with him. Like the cops are asking him, right? And it's almost like a class thing. It's almost like, we need to get this money back for this rich guy who lost all this money, even though you just got traumatized. And so the dad is standing up for him, right?
Mm.
In High and Low, I swear to God, the dad of the son that got wrongfully kidnapped, he feels more pressure on himself to find the money by a lot than the dude in Highest to Lowest. Like, if you kind of catch what I'm saying. Like, very Japanese, like, no, I can't bring dishonor on my boss, like, and just begging and like and it's so interesting, that difference of culture. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright is the guy who plays his best friend in Highest to Lowest. He's and he had been in prison. That's not the same thing as in the Japanese film. And he's very much like very skeptical of the police. And he's very much like, we got my son, don't like press him too much. But it is interesting, the cultural difference that, like, High and Low has that thing. But no, there's some pretty cool like cameos and shit in this movie too. Do you recognize Ice Spice when she pops up?
I really don't want to make like this statement, but I know that there's been a lot of controversy with like oh, we're not going to get canceled. Like Ozempic, or
oh yeah, you're talking about her weight.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize her. I didn't know what
interesting
spot she was in the film.
No, yeah, she shows up in the. She says like, you made a promise to me or something, or she said like, I'm gonna hold you to your word or something about getting a record contract.
Is she the one like singing to him? Like, okay.
No, that was another. Ice Spice had kind of like a quick scene, but no, I mean, I don't know. I think sorry, what were you saying?
Well, I do have. We were talking about like kind of the race, at least in terms of like,
because this movie Highest to Lowest doesn't deal with race as much as some of Spike Lee's other movies.
But what's interesting is the opening credits. Like, I don't know specifically, but it's from the musical Oklahoma. Which is like, in my opinion, like the whitest musical of all time. Oh, what a beautiful mo! It's like, dude, are you kidding? It's called Oklahoma, but I thought that gripped me right away because I was kind of I haven't seen a Spike Lee film in so long that it kind of felt like it tuned me more towards that commentary.
Yeah. And there's something about it that's just so like perfect time in his career for him to make a movie about like kind of like a Jay-Z executive, like in New York. Spike
Yeah.
Lee built himself out of New York and he's now an icon. And Denzel, same kind of thing. He's, this is the fifth movie he's made with Denzel. So it's like, what's the perfect fifth movie to make with this combo? It's like when Denzel's on top because he's played a lot of guys, but in He Got Game, he plays kind of like a convict that's playing basketball against Ray Allen, like his son Ray Allen.
Oh, is that Jesus Shuttleworth,
Shuttleworth,
or is that what that is?
Yep.
Oh, Christ! All right.
And then, then he's in Mo Better Blues, where he's kind of like this charismatic trumpet player that leads this jazz band that he kind of like has like these flaws, but he has so much aura that he's just able to like keep this jazz band together, even though like they're coming apart at the seams. And then he's in Malcolm X playing Malcolm X, and then he's the inside man playing a detective. And then all of a sudden we get Highest to Lowest and he plays like a music, guy, like a producer, which Spike has always been locked in with music. I mean, there are some insane, like he plays a Love Supreme, probably the greatest feature of a Love Supreme, that iconic jazz album, iconic that first song on A Love Supreme. One of the craziest scenes I've seen in cinema in Mo Better Blues. I'm not going to spoil it. It's near the end, but I was basically like crying. I was like, this is
wow,
unbelievable. No, I mean, Mo Better Blues, Spike's whole career, he's had just such a grip on the music. And I think that was another thing I heard from Matt, is I think Matt said that he thought the score for Highest to Lowest was bad, which I don't know. I didn't think it was like a bad score. I didn't think it was like as amazing as some of the other scores. I cut myself off earlier when I was talking to Eamon. We were in the alley, and I was like, because fucking Jungle Fever, which is another masterpiece from Spike. Guess who was the composer for Jungle Fever?
Don't know.
Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
I didn't even know this until like a day ago. Like I had seen the movie, and I think I literally saw the movie so long ago I didn't even like know, because when we were living together, I was like really into Stevie Wonder, and
yeah,
I think I saw Jungle Fever like years before that. And it's just like Spike has always known a shit ton about music. So for him to make a movie about a producer, I feel like that's such an extension, a new look on the High and Low script. Like High and Low is kind of like a perfect crime thriller. Like I said, I think it has more to do with something like Zodiac type of thing, of you're trying to figure out this mystery guy. And Highest to Lowest is much more about music. It's much more about black culture within, rappers, and then now in this age of like social media and shit. And I thought it was crazy. The way the movie kind of breaks down in different ways, I was just like I was like gripped. I was like, holy shit. And did you like all the shit in his house, in Denzel's house? All the stuff on the walls?
Oh, it's so, I hate to use the term like Easter egg, but there's a lot of music in sport.
Yeah. It's like very in that, it's almost like I use that term ethnographic. It's very encyclopedic. Like Spike has this encyclopedic depiction of African American art within just another new Spike Lee movie. I mean, he has Basquiat on the wall, and he has, iconic jazz albums and stuff. And then of course he has Denzel fictionally being like winning Grammys and stuff.
Yeah.
doesn't he like pick up like doesn't he look at photos at one point and he asks like the photos like and they're famous people, he's like asks like Stevie Wonder, he asks someone on the wall what they would do or something.
No, yeah, he's like, what? It's so many historical figures. He's like, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
He's pleading with them all.
And then in his son's room he has a Brunson jersey framed.
Oh, I didn't know it was the Brunson. That's
Bro,
awesome.
there's a New York
I know
Knicks
there's a
Jalen
jersey.
Brunson.
Brunson is awesome.
Yeah, and then he has a Kamala poster.
Yeah, it was I don't know. I don't know if it was We Won't Go Back, but yeah, I saw that.
And then I think the wife like loves Toni Morrison, and there's like Toni Morrison stuff in the house
Yeah.
too. No, it's awesome. I think Spike, I've really just been super inspired by Spike Lee, because then there's that scene where they do the handoff on the train. And
Oh, it's so it's almost like dizzy.
I mean, that's one of the best set pieces I've seen in a minute in an American film. Like with the Puerto
Yeah.
Rican Day Parade, and then fucking Rosie Perez shows up. He just has so many cameos in this movie,
And
and that's
the
what's so
music's
funny.
beautiful, but it's still like aggravating in like a wonderful way.
Yeah, because I think the score, I do understand that kind of comment that the score is like kind of just like serviceable rather than being like the high point of the movie. But then he mixes in legit needle drops and stuff. But that Puerto Rican Day Parade sequence is like some iconic
that's
like
amazing.
Puerto Rican like piano player and like this band, and it's just this hypnotic sequence. I dare anybody to watch this movie and not be wowed by that sequence where Denzel has to give him the money, and then they pull the emergency brake on the train. He drops the money, and then like a motorcycle guy catches it, and then the cops are the guy from the
a motorcycle guy catches it, and then that happens like 4 more times.
Yeah, they keep handing it off, and the whole time it's
which is like
this super like it's hypnotic, but it's also like this super New York. It's like a staple of New York is the Puerto Rican parade. So then it just once again Spike being like, I know everything about New York City. I'm gonna show. We're gonna make an entertaining ass movie, and we're also going to feature the character of New York City.
He hasn't been to every single spot in the city, but you believe it. You just believe it, like you said, he has this immense knowledge of how to put the motorcycles, or no, they're mopeds, I guess. And I don't even know how. It almost kind of reminds me of the schizophrenia of like the Shining maze.
Wait, sorry, what'd you say?
The schizophrenia of the Shining maze, when people are like, "Oh, you know, they go this way and they go that way."
Oh, you mean you meant the movie The Shining?
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting point, honestly, because that like sequence, I'm just kind of like, oh my god, how is this going to work? They're going to hand off the money, and then you don't even see ASAP Rocky, even though it's very like going into the movie. I knew ASAP Rocky is in the movie. I heard his voice and I recognized his voice. I knew he was like that character, And then when the guy is like has duct tape on his mouth and he's fucking in the bathtub, the guy who's like being held hostage, and you just hear this Young Felons song, and you're like, oh shit.
Well, what's weird is like, to me, ASAP Rocky's acting seemed better in person than on the phone.
Oh yeah, no, because
which is weird to me.
Yeah, because he was kind of just like laying down the law like over the phone, like the first half of the movie, and then it gets really heavy because Denzel basically decides to go track him down on his own, and just because he's a music producer, he hears the song. Hears the song that the guy is being held hostage. Hears, and that's again another just a brilliant. That's probably one of the most brilliant parts of the script. And I don't think Spike actually did write the script. I think what happened is that Denzel was sent the script, and Denzel said Spike needs to direct this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I just remembered that now that we're talking about it. So maybe Spike did some like revisions on the script, but that's a pretty brilliant modern day take on the High and Low film. The idea that what's gonna like be like how you figure out who the kidnapper is that it's an up and coming like gangbanger rapper that is named Young Felon that literally is playing his own music when he's holding this guy hostage, and then it just sets up this like, I mean, those were iconic scenes because High and Low. Again, spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. The movie's 60 years old, but they actually do run into each other. The guy who gets fucked in High and Low and the kidnapper. They do have a scene together, which I forgot that happens. But Highest to Lowest goes so much further with it because it's like a guy who like idolizes the producer, which reflects ASAP Rocky in real life. He idolized Denzel. And here he is in this scene with Denzel Washington telling him, I love you and all this stuff. And you should have like produced my music.
No, it's brilliant to like put in that setting. To it's almost like impossible to write that to get them there, but it works. That he's literally having to click like the because it is like that is the producer. Well, I mean, not producer, but the rapper inside the studio. It's that relationship. It's like click, okay, when you're talking to them, and it seems almost corny, but it works.
Yeah, no, I could see that too. And then I fucking love I love when they have the scene where it's like a dream sequence and then there's like just black chicks twerking for a Young Felon doing
when he's like he wants to meet you.
Bro,
he's like, okay.
Spike pulls out the classic Spike Lee like levitation shot for like this like the Young Felon song and like chicks like twerking. I was in the Gene Siskel being like, man, I'm so happy to see like big black asses twerking for all these like old people in the theater. Like people in my theater. I was like so pumped, and my audience was clearly like, right? Did you feel that, Eamonn?
Our whole row was laughing, and it was like dead, and we were all. But it felt like it was supposed to be laughed. It was supposed to be a little humorous, you know what I mean? It was like it just cut right into this music video for a fictional song by ASAP Rocky, and it was on par with like visual aesthetics of the genre in the music videos, like totally normal, just like funny cut to head to, you know what I mean? Going back to what you're saying about the audience kind of being a little asleep, I don't know. It seems like a specific kind of demographic that's hitting.
Yeah.
Is the song supposed to be like beneath ASAP Rocky, or
it's not? I mean, I don't know.
That's like a question I posed to myself. I thought, like, is this because it kind of hits, but at the same time, I'm like it. I don't know if it's like supposed to be a little bit like derivative or
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up too much with him or the Most Underground, but I feel like it's in the parameters. It's definitely like a valid song for him to put out under his own name, but it's like this fictional thing that he did, just embodied for a moment. But yeah, I think it's ASAP Rocky qualified.
No, yeah, that is a good question. Honestly, I think he's definitely more like hood rat in the movie than him in real. I feel like in real life, ASAP Rocky has a lot more of like an experimental, like he's just a pretty sophisticated musical guy, and I like that song. I mean, I heard it in the movie. I was like, this is awesome. I love like a fictional song in a movie where you're like, damn, he probably made that for the movie, and it's like a cool like fictional song. But I think ASAP Rocky is definitely more sophisticated than that, than Young Felon, if you had to compare the two artists. But no, before we move on to Summer of Sam, just because I wanted to, I made Austin watch this movie because it's my favorite, and I read a book on the Summer of Sam, the Son of Sam killings, and we can jump off the deep end with serial killers and conspiracy theory and all that kind of shit, just because we want to give the people really fun episodes here. But no, the interview the last thing I wanted to bring up with this interview that fucked me up with A$AP Rocky, Spike Lee, and Denzel, going back, I guess it kind of connects into what you were saying, Austin, as far as like talking about music. And just the fact that there's such a real life star power to highest to lowest that is so unique. And obviously A$AP Rocky, he's literally had 2 children with Rihanna, or is she pregnant for a second time, or yeah. So he's literally had 2 children with one of the biggest like stars on earth. So it's like A$AP Rocky is a huge, like, he has so much aura, and Denzel has so much aura. And in this interview for GQ, A$AP Rocky starts telling this story to Denzel. He's like, "Hey man, I don't know if you're," he kind of phrases it. I'm paraphrasing. I'm like saying it the way I'm saying it, but this is kind of how it's like understood in the interview, right? He says, "Denzel, do you remember when I came over to your house for Christmas dinner 10 years ago?" That's kind of like what he says. And Denzel is kind of like, "Wait, what?" Denzel like completely has no memory of like what he's talking about. A$AP Rocky said that he and Frank Ocean, him and Frank Ocean and John David, the dude who is the lead of Black Klansman, who is Denzel Washington's son, because A$AP Rocky is friends with, apparently was friends with John David Washington, like in like 2016. And they went over to Denzel Washington's house on Christmas Eve and had dinner. And Samuel Jackson and Denzel Washington's wife cooked dinner.
I mean, I don't.
Pretty crazy, right? And Denzel in this interview was like, barely remembers what he's talking about. He like, yeah, he like doesn't. He's like, "Oh no," he's like, "No what?" Because then A$AP has this moment in the interview where he looks at him. He's like, "You think I'm? Did you forget that I'm best friends with your son?" Like, kind of look. And then Denzel's like, "No, I knew you were friends with him, but I didn't realize you were that close."
Oh my god.
But no, literally, imagine Frank Ocean, A$AP Rocky, Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, and then Denzel Washington's wife, and probably some other people at dinner. It's like, oh my god. So that's why I love Highest to Lowest. I think people kind of forget who Spike Lee is when they see this movie. It's something that happened to Michael Mann over time too, where people will see new Michael Mann movies and they'll think, it's okay. But then they forget that he invented the fucking genre that everyone like steals from, you know? Like every movie made by like whether it be a black filmmaker or any American filmmaker has kind of taken from Spike Lee. Like he's one of the most influential, one of the great American directors. And I think people forget about that when they see Highest to Lowest and they're like, "Oh, this is just Spike Lee, who's like an older guy making another movie." It's like, no, guys. He is a master at the crime thriller, which
Yeah.
goes into Summer of Sam. And, you know, he did Inside Man,
Dun,
Summer
dun,
of
dun,
Sam. But no, I really wanted to shoehorn talking about Summer of Sam into this episode because it's like, when would we ever have this opportunity? It's like kind of perfect, the fact that we get a new Spike Lee movie and it ends up being great. Great music sequences, amazing chase sequences. Denzel, like the pairing is amazing. Funny enough, Spike Lee made multiple films with predominantly white casts that do talk about race, both, you know, 25th Hour with Edward Norton and Summer of Sam. And
Yeah.
they're arguably 2 of his best films. It really shows that obviously he's a master at making films about black people, starring black people, about predominantly the black community. A lot of times black community, like in Do the Right Thing, butting heads with like the Italians and like the, you know, the Asian grocer and all this stuff. And it's very like, it's like a really hot situation, like as far as like the tensions. Summer of Sam is very similar to Do the Right Thing in that way. It's about the summer of 77, New York City, and the tension that exploded in the city when, similar to the Zodiac Killer, there was someone who was writing letters to the cops, which we'll get into who actually was doing it, who even knows, but the mainstream take on it, which Spike basically embodies. But I feel like the movie still, when it portrays the David Berkowitz stuff, it's still so Looney Tunes that it's not It's not like he's saying this is what happened. He's saying like this is how crazy the summer was, because that's what people believed
Right.
happened at the time. That's what people believed, even though, as we'll get into, David Berkowitz did not commit the killings alone, and he was part of a satanic cult that did the killings. We'll go into that. So I was reading this crazy ass book, and I was like, man, I got to read this book before the new Spike Lee comes out, so that I can make Austin watch Summer of Sam, because how crazy is
Okay.
how crazy is Summer of Sam?
To me?
Yeah.
Well, you texted me there is sucking and fucking and murder, and I don't know, the murder is done so casually, and
Bro,
it's
everyone's
crazy. It's
sweating.
crazy because
There's
it's
a ton of
crazy because
sweat
this
and blood.
movie. It's crazy because this movie is perverted, kind of hot, but there are
scenes.
these like beautiful scenes.
Fucking
So yeah, it is crazy.
You got the Guido Wop cheating on his girlfriend.
All right. I didn't know I was going to make it from the text message to the podcast.
No, I can say slurs against Italian. I'm Italian.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Isn't that neat?
Cross weight?
Yeah, people have questioned my Italian heritage, but you know, I'm not gonna. Anyway, I could go off in the wrong direction with this conversation, but to quote another ethnic person, Boston man Kieran from Columbia, from our college. I love his Letterboxd review. He came to bat for highest to lowest. He gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And when I saw that, I like looked online, and then so basically ASAP Rocky said that he loves Mo Better Blues, and that's why I watched Mo Better Blues yesterday. And so I looked on Letterboxd. I realized Kieran had seen Mo Better Blues also and had given it a 5 stars. I was like, okay, now I need to like watch this movie. And so Kieran is like a guy from Boston, is like a thick Boston accent, and he like loves Spike Lee. He like loves Sinners, but I found his Summer of Sam review, and I think it's like amazing. It's just the perfect description of Summer of Sam. It goes like this: all serial killer movies ought to be this beautiful, filled with disco and about neighborhood ethnic relations, not about killer whatsoever. Not about the killer.
No, like yeah, it's called Summer of Sam, but it's that's like the one movie anyone wants to write is like, let's put a fucking serial killer in the background and just like have another story. That's just so interesting on its head.
Yeah, it ends up being about, you know, the it's basically like, because I think Adrian Brody is probably like Italian. I don't even remember. I think his dad is more Italian he's more Italian Maxing than he is, but
Sure.
It's John Leguizamo. Man, yeah, didn't he play like Mario in a movie, like the Super Mario Brothers, right?
I would love to back you up on that, but I
yeah, the live action. So here we go. I'm gonna Google this real quick so I don't. Live action Mario 90s. Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. There he is. So I think he was Luigi in the Super Mario Brothers Nintendo live action film from 1993. So he's you know, just going full on Andrew Cuomo in Summer of Sam. He's going full on Andrew Cuomo.
No.
He is being very Italian, cheating on his girlfriend, and it's a real thing too. In the summer of '77, the son of Sam killings, they were killing brunettes. They would kill. It would a lot of times be lovers. It would be like a man and a woman kissing in like a car parked on the side of a road, and someone would come over with a 44 caliber gun. So it was called the 44 caliber killer before it was the son of Sam. The letters in the media said, Son of Sam and all this kind of stuff we can get into.
But before that, 44 caliber in terms of like shooting outside of the car is
that was how they
pretty devastating.
Yeah, and that's how they like kind of built that this was like a serial killer, and the cops, some of this is corrupt. I mean, the witnesses saw weird people at all these killings. Like the witnesses, some of the people that survived and were shot did not see David
Right.
Berkowitz do the killings. People saw David Berkowitz
Isn't there like more
shooting.
People injured than killed?
Yeah. So I think there's probably like 5 or 6, but there's a lot of people that were probably connected to this group that weren't even connected to Son of Sam. But no, so the pattern was that it was a 44 caliber pistol shooting lovers, and it was always a brunette chick. So in some Summer of Sam, all the ladies either put on a blonde wig or they like dye their hair blonde, and then John Leguizamo like fucking is a hairdresser too. So it's like the movie is just very much about like hair and like style. And then Adrian Brody's like one of the first punks. It's like his best friend. And Adrian Brody has like a full on like mohawk, and he starts talking British, and he's wearing like he does the there's that
weird.
Sequence.
It's like borderline annoying. Not in terms of watching it, but you get it.
Yeah, and all the performances are super, because I think that's the thing with Spike that people forget when they see Highest to Lowest, is they're just like, it's like, man, Spike has always made movies that were like like the characters are always like shit talking, they're always huge personalities, they're always swearing, they're not presentable. So they're not presentable to the Gene Siskel audience, even though those are the people that act like, oh, I love Spike Lee. It's like, do you love when white people are saying the N-word in Spike Lee movies? Because that's like what he does. Like he has people say racial slurs at each other, and it's truthful. Like it's truthful about like how America is. Like as Kieran's review says about the different ethnic groups, and it's Summer Sam is mainly like the Italians, but then Spike Lee has like a cameo where he's like a reporter.
That's all his cameos are amazing.
He's like, I'm here in Harlem and people are going crazy.
I need to cut it now because I might get hurt. And then he's like, if this was somebody that was black that did this, it would be a completely different. There would be a race riot, and that's kind of true. Like, granted, that's like imagining an interview that I don't know if that took place or not in real life, but I mean, I would guess it's imagined, but that brings this whole other like racial element to it that is really, really interesting.
Oh yeah, did Spike say that in the movie, or one of the cops said that about the Summer Sam?
He's like interviewing people in the streets about it.
Right?
They're getting the black perspective.
Yeah, Spike Lee is like, for the black perspective on the Summer, because that was, again, because that is true, that is written in the book. So I read The Ultimate Evil by Maury Terry. It's a great alternative nonfiction book. This is a guy who was literally writing articles on the Son of Sam killer when the killings were happening. He was friends with the police. He had all the documents. Like, he was there from the day one, talking about, researching like Satanism and all kinds of crazy ass shit. He said in this book, I mean, again, this is kind of obvious, that the reason like a serial killer becomes like a phenomena is because they're killing white people, which Spike doesn't really. I feel like, to his credit, like someone that hates Spike Lee, they would assume that he would make a movie about the Summer of Sam killing. That's all he would talk about, right? Like, say like a right-wing person that hates Spike Lee that thinks that he's just going to talk about like black people in a certain kind of way. They would think that the movie would make that very obvious, but he doesn't really bring that up that much in the movie, even though now that we're talking about it, when he says the black perspective thing,
that's the genius of it. It's put into
subtle,
but it is into true. It. Yeah.
But it is factually true that it has to be brunette chicks in the white parts of town getting killed for this to be a media spectacle. That's just factually true. In the history of America and the history of, I mean, there's been talk, people have said different things about like serial killers and like mass shooters. Obviously a lot of mass shooters end up being white dudes. Okay, I'll take the L on that one, guys. But as far as like the blacks, there's definitely been black serial killers, but they just don't get any press because the press flips out if it's like a white woman, a white chick that's like the prom queen, and it's unfortunate, but that is the historical reality of a lot of these serial killers that have gone super famous. And New York was interspersed as far as like some of the crime and stuff. Like it wasn't like there were parts of town where crime never happened. As far as the Maury Terry book says, it's kind of like, okay, these killings are still brazen and they're still super aggressive and crazy, but it's still like there still are shootings in these areas, like there are areas of course in New York that are worse than others, but it was in wealthy parts of town, but you still get crime in the wealthy parts of town is kind of what Maury Terry was saying about this period. But no, basically Summer of Sam, just to like go back to the movie, I feel like it's mainly about Adrian Brody. I feel like it's mainly about one of the first punks.
Interesting.
One of the first outsiders, outcasts, like this movie is like almost like a spiritual relative of the girl with the dragon tattoo with like Rooney Mara. Like,
wow.
It's like a movie truly about an outsider, and Adrian Brody ends up being in the closet, gay in the movie.
Well,
To spoil it, and I'm bringing that up because it's a great example of a movie that shows just how countercultural you could be in 1977. And you like look at it and you go, damn, that is a totally different world. Because he's like dancing on stage for gay men, and then he's like making porn videos with his girlfriend. And then he has a mohawk. And eventually all the Guidos in like the neighborhood, they all start to suspect him of being the killer just because he's so like outside the box.
Yeah, no, he's in the diner with him, and what's interesting is the sketch of the Son of Sam that they give looks like Vinny. It looks like Vinny. And they're like, that doesn't, and they start drawing like the Liberty spikes. I'm like, dude, that literally looks like the guy that obviously we know obviously in terms of the historical context that it's David Berkowitz, but
right.
We also know that in the film. It's not hiding that. It's not like a guessing game, but it.
Yeah, that scene was really funny because all the people are trying to convince. So it's basically Adrian Brody and John Leguizamo, and they're trying to convince Vinny. They're trying to convince the main guy Vinny, who's like the guy, the Guido, cheating on his girlfriend. Like his friends are trying to convince him that his best buddy Richie is the punk Adrian Brody, and they're trying to convince him that Richie is the Son of Sam killer. And so the cops go to the mob in a scene and they say, we need your help to track down the Son of Sam killer. And in that scene, that's another classic Spike Lee scene when fucking the mobsters and the detectives start arguing if Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays is better.
Right. Yeah.
Another perfect New York
moment. That echoed to the Rick Fox cameo in Heist to Lowest.
Yeah, that Rick Fox.
When cops are... and he's like, no autograph. Larry Bird. He just says Larry Bird in his face. It's like, all right. It's great.
I love the hot takes in his movies.
I was going to say though, the crazy part about the film that we were talking about is like they never say mob. They like it's the mob, but they never say mob. And I originally was thinking kind of like a little bit of kind of just judging the film or a little bit of disbelief that like they're friends with Bobby, the gay guy, and they're friends with Richie, who's like clearly and there's these Italian people in New York, but I don't know. I was wondering if you could hint on that, like the gender politics of the film.
What you said, gender politics, or
Well, sure, because I mean, they're friends with Adrian Brody and the one gay guy. Like they literally, he gets beat up, and they're like, "Who did this?" And I was watching it and I'm thinking, 1977 Italians in New York. I went, I don't know.
Yeah, that was interesting too. That there was definitely the gay dude character outside of Adrian Brody. I think kind of like recognizes that Brody is like going to these like gay like dance club or whatever. And I was gonna bring this up too with Adrian Brody's punk band. He's singing with the chick he's like with the chick he's like making do porno videos with him. And their band, their lyrics are singing the Son of Sam letters that are getting posted in the press.
Are you
The
serious?
lyrics, yeah, the lyrics are literally
that went
quoting.
over my head. I didn't. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. No shit. Fuck. No, I need to like find this because it's so. It's like I'm talking to you from the sewers of New York City. I'm talking to you from the sewers of New York City.
Wait, is that like I would love to know if that's like an original band piece.
No, this is literally
like,
quoting the Son of Sam. This is
I mean like did they, was there like another band they had and they did it like they lip synced it, or
I wonder about that
because it's actually like pretty it's pretty hardcore. I like it.
Yeah, I thought it. Yeah, here it is. So on so this is the Breslin letter, which he comes up in the Summer of Sam movie too. It's the guy who like in the beginning and end of the movie is like, I got a letter, and he's like, this is just one story from New York City. Like the guy who's like, that guy is like the guy who got like this letter. The letter is kind of hard to like figure out like the details of it, but it goes, "Hello from the gutters of New York City, which are filled with dog manure, vomit, stale wine, urine, and blood. Hello from the sewers of NYC, which swallow up these delicacies when they are washed away by the sweeper trucks. Hello from the cracks in the sidewalks of NYC, and from the ants that dwell in these cracks and feed on the dried blood of the dead that has seeped into these cracks. JB, I'm just dropping you a line to let you know that I appreciate your interest in those recent and horrendous 44 killings." I'm not going to read this whole thing, but some of the poetry of the early Son of Sam. But we can go into it. He ends up later in this letter saying, it's like it's a lot. It's a lot. There's like a lot of like Satanism kind of like references. We can go into like some of the details of like the Son of Sam like stuff. But as far as the movie goes, yeah, your take was just like, did you feel like this was like a classic half of God's Face movie?
I would say it took me till about pretty quickly, like the casualness of just shooting people in a car.
Yeah, there's a couple of those,
but it's not like it's not gratuitous. You know what I mean?
It's pretty violent. I mean, gratuitous isn't. I mean, it doesn't serve a purpose, but you're saying it serves a purpose, but it's very violent.
Right. I mean, well, I can say I think people can probably say that about the sex.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote halfway through the film in my notes, is this the sexiest movie ever?
Yeah, because basically the Guido Wop, he is cheating on his girlfriend and he wants to like get the relationship to be normal again. So then they're trying different things in the bedroom, and they end up going to like an orgy, and he's like fucking another chick, and like she's fucking another guy, and then he just explodes on her in the most like unreasonable way. Just being like, you were fucking another guy, and she's like, you were fucking another chick.
Like, no, it's like unreasonable.
Yeah, it's like the most like, and then she's like, "You have been cheating on me this whole time, and I know
Yeah.
it." And it's like, "Oh no!" And it's like ugly. And she's like, "I hope you get killed. I hope you get killed by the son of Sam." So
Even though
anyway,
she's like the clear like target, but
no, yeah,
there is a scene that like really confuses me, and it's when
uh-huh.
it's really quick, like when they have sex, and it's like zooming in very quickly, and it's very he finishes very quickly, and then it like kind of zooms out, and they're just posing on each other, like holding each other while he's on
Right.
top of her, and it's kind of beautiful. And that was like my whole thesis for this movie, was like very confusing in terms of like intellectual romance. I was like,
Uh-huh.
all these scenes are like gratuitous and like kind of like, I don't want to say kinky, but you know, just kind of like it's hot.
Well, it's so
hot. But
wow. It's the summer of
yeah.
'77, baby. And at a
Oh
certain point,
jeez.
they're bringing up fucking Reggie Jackson and shit. They're like, "What if Reggie Jackson is the 44 caliber killer?" And then
44
of course,
Yankee.
in the end of the movie, Spike has to tell the audience that the Yankees won the World Series that year.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that's the same year Reggie hit like five or seven home runs in the World Series or whatever. He had the 3-homer game in the World Series.
Yeah, game
in
6, I
77.
think. Yeah, it's crazy.
77, baby. It's a crazy ass year. And it's true. The killings tore the city apart. So they needed to find someone. They needed to put it on someone. So to just to wrap up this episode, because yeah, we've covered so much shit, but just to go into the actual killings, just because I have to. I'm just I'm autistic enough, and I'm
it's in your bones.
It's in my bones to talk about serial killers when the people are screaming from the heavens for Half of God's Face podcast to talk about serial killers. David Berkowitz was in a satanic cult. This is known because he kind of admitted it. It's Son of Sam because the letter is talking about a barking dog. It's Sam Carr. Sam Carr. So it's the son of Sam. And so Sam Carr's actual 2 sons, Michael and John Carr, were buddies with David Berkowitz in this satanic cult. And in Yonkers, between David Berkowitz's apartment and the Carr families, all these like German shepherds were found in the woods near this aqueduct they were killed. Presumably by a satanic ritual of some sort. So when they figured out that, so they were doing these murders, right, with the 44 caliber pistol is kind of the vibe I get. And the press and the cops leaned into this idea it's one killer and it's not like a group of people. So the group leaned into this, and some of and some of the letters, right, don't really seem like they were written by David Berkowitz. And there's like all these like satanic references in the letters. But no, that's why why he's called the Son of Sam killer, is that the mainstream narrative is that David Berkowitz went crazy because of Sam Carr's dog. Sam Carr being his neighbor.
Right.
And his neighbor's dog was killed. His neighbor's dog was shot and killed. But there's no evidence that Berkowitz did it.
Okay.
There's no evidence he did it, but that's what was assumed. And he wrote in the letter that like shit about dogs. But then it became kind of clear that dogs had to, like, the satanic cult was offering dogs and ritual sacrifices. So when the cult figured out that people were hot on their trail, they decided to make David Berkowitz the fall guy. And David Berkowitz, being nervous about his family receiving retribution or himself being killed, went along with the narrative that he was the solo killer. And witness testimony contradicts the idea that Berkowitz did it alone. 100%. I mean, and Michael and John Carr both died under mysterious circumstances. One by a gunshot wound to the head in North Dakota that looked like a murder, and then another in a crazy car accident. They both seemingly participated in the murders as well, and they were killed to clean all this shit up. Berkowitz, someone tried to kill Berkowitz when he was in prison. They tried to stab him, and he didn't rat out the stabber. He refused to name names on who tried to kill him,
Oh
but
my god.
it was someone clearly. So Berkowitz essentially said that there were more Sons of Sam out there. There were more people involved. So I appreciate the Spike Lee because it goes into that. You see the David Berkowitz mainstream narrative with the dog and stuff, and it really works with the movie because the people of 1977, they believe that David Berkowitz was a lone killer that was driven insane by this dog barking. And, you know, there's the scene where the dog is like Satan talking to him in Summer
He's talking to him, and the beat is off of the mouth and the dialogue. But it's, I laughed at that, but it wasn't like I was laughing in terms of making fun of it.
No, well, it's perfect for the movie where it's like the movie is just like this is what it was like to grow up in the summer of 77. There was a serial killer named the Son of Sam, and he believed that Lucifer was speaking through a dog and telling him to commit these murders. That's what people actually believed in real time, and that's how the movie plays out. So none of this is to say that Spike is pushing a mainstream narrative that's not true and like that should take points away from the movie. I'm not saying that. I think the movie, it's so batshit when you have this dog. And then I'm pretty sure Berkowitz in the movie kind of talks about a cult. People in Summer of Sam bring up cult because there is some speculation about it. Like it was talked about. Like maybe this is a cult. Maybe this is a satanic group doing the killings. But then the cops, because, you know, police are corrupt in general, they want to clean shit up. They want to have the appearance of having cleaned shit up. So serial killer, this is my whole thesis in life. My thesis in general of this is one of my main theses in conspiracy theory is that serial killers are totally fake, completely invented. And this is kind of from Dave McGowan, the great conspiracy theory writer. But it's just true. All these different killers said there were accomplices. All these different presidential assassins, there were accomplices. There's no lone nut. The lone nut thing is a psyop. It's a total psyop. It's fake, doesn't exist. It's bullshit. No individual random ass person like sure, maybe that's happened one time, but if we're talking about in the United States of America where John Wayne Gacy says that he has accomplices and then David Berkowitz says he has accomplices and, you know, Henry Lee Lucas, another serial killer, says I had accomplices and I helped kill for the Son of Sam cult in the 70s in New York City. Like it gets to a point where like, all right, I don't think these are a bunch of just isolated people. And I wanted to rewatch Zodiac before we did this podcast, but I think the Zodiac and so the Maury Terry book, it gets to a point where it says someone that had a connection to the Manson family was involved in the Son of Sam killings. It connects it to Manson because this cult that Berkowitz was in referred to themselves as the family. And they referred to themselves as they use like the same like ranking and stuff, the rankings and shit like that, the way that Manson did. And you know, when Charles Manson was trying to intimidate Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys, he gave him a 44 caliber bullet to intimidate him, which is the same gun used in the Son of Sam killings 6 or 7 years later.
Oh my gosh.
So, I can read a little bit of this letter. Actually, I could probably read. This is not that long. So, David Berkowitz
Do it.
wrote a letter on July 29th, 1977 to the police, and I don't think this was published in the media at the time. This is a warning to all police agencies in the tri-state area. For your information, a satanic cult, devil worshippers, and practitioners of witchcraft that has been established for quite some time has been instructed by their high command, Satan, in parentheses, to begin to systematically kill and slaughter young girls or people of good health and clean blood. They plan to kill at least 100 young women. So it's women spelled Wemon, which is actually how in some of the Son of Sam letters they spelled women Weemen. With a little note. So he might have written one of the letters, but mostly women, as part of a satanic ritual which involves the shedding of the victim's innocent blood. Warning, the streets shall be run with blood. I, David Berkowitz, have been chosen since birth, to be one of the executioners for the cult. He who hath eyes, let him see the dead victims. He who hath ears, let him listen to what I say. David Berkowitz saying a satanic cult is behind the killings in writing. There we go.
Huh.
So then, this Maury Terry book, The Ultimate Evil, he believes that there's this person that was friends with Big Mama Cass of Mamas and the Papas and Roman Polanski and Charles Manson, was in the Son of Sam cult, and this person was hanging out with this guy, Roy Radin. Roy Radin was throwing satanic orgies at a Rothschild mansion.
Whoa.
In New York City in the 70s. Roy Radin was trying to raise money to finance the Francis Ford Coppola movie, The Cotton Club, which was a Francis Ford Coppola movie that no one has seen. And he's not listed in the credits because he was murdered. So Roy Radin is another person that was kind of named by, people that kind of knew David Berkowitz as potentially being one of the big, one of the guys that was kind of sponsoring elites to be part of the satanic cult. Lawyers, doctors, Roy Radin, who's like a vaudeville like producer, and then he got accused of like rape by a woman, and it was horrific. It was like a satanic thing. He gets murdered in LA in the 80s. And the trail does kind of go cold at that point, but it's just so unnerving that it just seems so. It just seems like there's so much evidence that serial killers are part of a whole thing. I mean, we don't have to connect it to Epstein type shit, but it seems a little. It seems a little bit. I don't know. It seems a little bit like Eyes Wide Shut, like all that kind of shit. I have been drinking tonight, by the way, so
That's okay. Week 1 of college football,
we're talking about satanic elites, and we start with highest to lowest, and we end with because on this episode I knew because going into Satanism shit, it's like, okay, the Catholic Church, blah blah blah. I feel like it's definitely done. It's a powerful organization. Don't get me wrong. I feel like pound for pound, the Catholic Church, on behalf of like conquest and like, the Middle Ages and like any nation that's been a Christian nation that has done wrong. There's a whole history of corruption in the Catholic Church and evil and all this stuff. I'm not making this whole pitch of, our society is run by satanic whatever. I'm not saying that. I do think the Catholic Church has done crazy ass shit, blah, blah, blah.
Crazy stance.
But what happens is that there are people that, so essentially it's in the book, and apparently there's this offshoot of the Church of Scientology called the Process Church that is potentially the name of the cult, but it might be an offshoot of the Process Church. It might be like a crazy offshoot, because that's kind of what happens with Satanism. And there's people, I've seen podcasts with our friend Nick Bryant talking about Satanism, and some of the hardcore like Satanist scholars, they'll say no, you're not supposed to kill a virgin. Like, like they'll say it like in an academic way. They're like, no, you're not supposed to kill a virgin like in cold blood because no, actually, we value that. It's like, okay. So again, I'm not here to say that Satanism is like to blame for everything that's ever happened wrong in the world. That being said, there are groups of people that become serial killers or they're criminals or they're serial arsonists, serial shooters that believe in like kind of a bastardization of Satanism. They take some of the satanic because I feel like there's different offshoots and stuff. There's like the Temple of Set, which I think was that one fucking crazy ass guy that was in the psychological operator. I forget his
Oh,
name.
geez.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah, right.
Michael Aquino, he was like the Temple of Set guy who was like a psyop expert in the United States military. But no, it's all kind of connected. But I think there's like a bastardization though, because I do believe like the actual Church of Satan, similar with any like radical organization, they try to like portray themselves like in a good way, like we don't do this kind of thing. But then the people that like are not satisfied with the Church of Satan, they go and they create, oh no, we're gonna go kill innocent people for Satan. So the main Church of Satan wants to be like PC. Even like 50 years ago, the Church of Satan probably wants to be a little bit PC. And then there's these offshoots that's like, okay, we're elites at a mansion doing crazy ass shit. Like, yeah, obviously Satan wants us to sacrifice like babies, which is unfortunate. And again, I'm not saying that Satanism is like, because I think there's a lot of like implications in talking about Satanism, like they can go all these different directions. But
Yeah.
let's just say I don't like Satanism. I'll say that on the record. Controversial point. I don't like it.
You should explain yourself.
But it's also, freedom of religion, blah, blah, blah. But, Michael Aquino should have been, thrown in jail. But they also seem to love crazy ass shit. Like, they also seem to love, Aleister Crowley said, do what thou will, do what thou want. And that's the law of Satanism. Do whatever you want to satisfy your urges. Like, and I don't know. That seems like morally speaking, that seems like a little bit of a dead end as far as when you start killing people. But yeah, I don't know if I have a cleaner synthesis of like what I'm saying. I'm kind of like just drinking and just like firing off the cuff about Satanism. But
Nah, it's a bad thing, man.
it seems like a little fucked up if you're worshiping the devil and the devil's known for being bad. And and it's unfortunate because Kenneth Anger is like a god and he's named in these books too. Like Kenneth Anger was buddies with and he's like one of my favorite filmmakers ever. And he worked with Bobby Beausoleil, who was in the Manson family. He made the score for Lucifer Rising. And Satanists can make great art.
Sure.
Kenneth Anger is Jack Parsons, the rocket guy, was a Satanist and all this kind of stuff. There's just there's some lunatics that are like into this shit. But yeah, no, I don't know what my ending conclusion is. Not to say that Satanism has taken over America or anything like that. But I do think a lot of these serial killers, they find the right people to hang out with.
Oh
And
my god.
it's the people that are doing this kind of shit. It's the people that are like, yeah. And so, yeah, I think most serial killers are definitely, they have accomplices. That's maybe that's like the most I can put a bow on this. Cause we could do 30 podcasts on this line of inquiry, but I wanted to open the door because we were talking about the Summer of Sam movie. And, it is fascinating. It is fascinating that in the Son of Sam letters, they're talking about Baphomet and stuff, and like, yeah, I mean there's a lot of like satanic like references like in the letters and stuff, and it clearly was inspired by Satan. Unfortunately, the murders.
Yeah, damn it, Satan.
God damn it, Satan.
God.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else to add. I was so unspooled
Ooh.
there for a second.
No, it's cool, man. I definitely have one more thing to add for sure.
Okay.
Yankees
From highest to
should.
lowest.
I'm just saying.
No,
Nah,
we even forgot to bring up. Well, yeah, fuck the Yankees, but also in highest to lowest, I will say, going back to that movie, I love when they're saying "fuck the Red Sox" on the train.
And well, yeah, it's when he like stops it, or they stop his train. They're like, "Red Sox, stop the train!" Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. And then someone pulls the emergency brake, and he's like, "The Red Sox fans pulled the emergency brake."
Red Sox, yeah, I can't, but
no, yeah, that. God bless Spike Lee. The Christian God is on Spike's side, even though the devil is with, these people who try to pervert our society. And
no, yeah, Spike
we must
Lee.
reject the devil at all costs. We must
Oh
choose
God,
Christ.
Spike Lee, definitely one of the most underrated filmmakers ever. I think that's like a fair.
I mean, I was saying this to Eamon too. I was like, bro, if someone said to me, this is the greatest American filmmaker of all time, you could make that argument. I mean, I think he fucks up a lot of great American filmmakers, like in a one-on-one battle. I don't know if I still think Paul Thomas Anderson and like Francis Ford Coppola are pretty goated. They're like such masters, like just so many masterpieces, like almost never, Coppola misses sometimes, not as much as people say. A lot of people think he's missed a lot, but I don't know, man. Spike has made like 4 or 5 masterpieces, and that's a lot of masterpieces to make. Summer of Sam, 25th Hour, Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, Mo Better Blues. I mean, Malcolm X is. I mean, I don't know if I would call Malcolm X a masterpiece, but that's definitely in the conversation. Like,
Sure.
yeah. So I don't know. I appreciate the hell out of his Summer of Sam movie. And again, just to tie it back into highest to lowest, I mean, High and Low, the Akira Kurosawa film, to me, just like the movie Zodiac, the David Fincher movie, is about kind of creating a composite villain. And when you watch Zodiac, you kind of realize that there are like all these different suspects. It's clearly not just one guy who did the Zodiac killings. Like I'm saying with Summer and Sam, it's like if there's all these different, and when Fincher made that movie, he had different people in all the different killings. He had different,
right,
like based on the witness testimony, he would have different physical people play the Zodiac killers in the scenes based on the witness testimony. And the movie has different people that the characters think are the Zodiac. So it kind of becomes clear it's a composite, right? So that movie to me is inspired by High and Low. High and Low is kind of about finding a composite for this kidnapper. And then we get to Summer of Sam. So it's kind of there's like a perfect bridge in the psychology of like the crime like genre that Spike has kind of allowed to exist within his filmography. And it's fascinating, man. We're talking about like there's all these conversations about like Satanism and serial killers and shit. It almost has nothing to do with like ethnic tensions. And like we think of Spike Lee as like this master regarding talking about race, and it just shows his like unbelievable range. Just absolutely like he can do anything. I mean, he's got to be like at least top 5. Like I think he beats like Brian De Palma. I think he's better than Michael Cimino. Scorsese, because Scorsese influenced Spike Lee. So maybe Scorsese. So maybe it's Coppola, Scorsese, Paul Thomas Anderson, Spike Lee. It's something like that. Like the top top guy. Because Spike Lee does not pull any fucking punches. I mean, he's not politically correct.
Great
It's
point.
like, hell yeah. This to me, that's like what film should be. That's like what it should be. Like I love diversity in film when it's not politically correct, which is Spike Lee. It's you don't pull punches, you don't make characters act in a way that you want them to act. It's like no, you depict reality, which is Italians saying crazy shit to the blacks and the blacks saying
Oh my
crazy
god.
shit to the Asians.
Oh
Eamon
god.
just completed my sentence and said Asians as I said Asian.
Ah.
It's okay. His wife is Asian. So anyway, that's another episode.
Can I have one more
That's
thing?
another episode of Half of God's Face podcast.
Can I have one more thing?
Okay, yeah.
I think Spike Lee should direct an Epstein movie.
Oh,
That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, who else would we want? Obviously, like
Fucking Oliver Stone.
yeah,
He's
but...
probably in that list too. As far as great American filmmakers list.
Well, I was on the. I visited, but I don't know if I remembered anything.
No, I didn't say Oliver Stone. No, no, I wasn't saying he went to Epstein Island.
Oh, God!
Damn, I literally just said out loud, "Oh, he's on the list too."
Yeah, well,
I'm a fucking idiot. No,
How am I supposed
sorry.
to feel?
I meant my list of best American filmmakers.
Oh!
I'm a complete. No, Oliver Stone was not on Epstein Island. That was a horrific mishap for me.
Actually an interesting.
Holy shit, that is so funny that I literally just. We made an Oliver Stone. How retarded would that be if we did an Oliver Stone episode and then I just go, yeah, he's on Epstein's flight log like 3 episodes later, just burning him.
Yeah.
Okay, Oliver, if you're listening, I love you. You're 100% not on Epstein Island. You're one of the great artists of our time. I did not mean to say that. I was trying to say that you are on the list of that I was making previously about Coppola, PTA, Spike Lee, Martin Scorsese, Oliver Stone.
Sure.
Some of the great American filmmakers. Hell yeah. Half of God's Face. Hashtag peace and love. Hashtag Christ is King. Hashtag Satanism will not prevail.
Hey, thank you, Eamon.
have a God's face.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.